Hello everyone, so we're going to go and start with Plasticity, and we're going to actually select this cube here, and we're going to hit the delete key and get rid of that. Alright, and let's go ahead and continue. We're going to actually now create a form, so let's go to the top view here, and we're going to be using the actual corner rectangle tool. So if you select this, move this a little bit up, I want to try to use the middle axis here to kind of control where I'm at. You start off with basically selecting the snap to grid, and you can get the corner here, and I'm going to make this a rectangle, so that's pretty much the basic shape that I want to start with. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to go in and start creating some of the edges and stuff like that. And I'm going to actually hit the line tool and going to select the center of the left side. This is the best way to kind of manipulate the lines as you need them. So I'm going to hit the point there and hit the top point up there. Now I'm going to actually hit the center of this just to get that centered from that point. I'm going to pull this out and then down straight. Alright, so now I got the mirror selected, and I'm going to actually make sure I mirror it to the other side. And then I'm going to join these with the J key. I'm going to also mirror this to the other side. I first got to hit the F key and select the midpoint of the top of this, and just go ahead and move that upward. And now I got exactly 90 or 180 degrees from the other side. Cool. Alright, again, I'm going to select the line tool again. Now we're going to create some other sections here. Cut this over. Okay, we're going to bring the line out, something like that, and then straight. And then we'll cut this down, and then back out. And then I'm going to go all the way across to the other side, because I'm going to mirror this across to make it easier. Okay, right click. So now you got the line selected. We're going to hit the mirror tool. And again, we're going to hit the F key so we can actually center this. So hit the F key, and we'll hit the center of this top piece here and upward. Now I'm going to use the trim tool to get rid of all this excess stuff that we do not need anymore. So hit the trim tool on the right side, or the T key, and let's go ahead and hit these little sections here to get rid of them. Pretty simple. Just keep it going. Alright, so there's your top area. Well, first of all, I want to mirror this to the side and just get that done first, but let's go ahead and basically select the actual face itself. We don't really need to do much with that line. It's already good enough. So let's go and pull this down. Something like that. And now I'm going to select the line tool. Okay, so I got the line tool selected, and now I'm going to delete those pieces. Alright, so now I'm going to create another object on the other side here, away from the main object. So I created a rectangle, and actually going to create some other shapes on here. So just trying to get some areas to cut around part of this other object here. So let me just go forward with this, trying to make a different shape. Again, you can just go to the right side, and then you can just mirror this, just like we did earlier. Alright, so I'm going to go down the center here, and then I'm going to get rid of some of this extra stuff I don't need anymore. So again, go down to the bottom here and say, basically trim, and we'll get rid of some of the stuff that's not needed anymore. Cool. Now we could actually mirror the other side of this. So hit the mirror key. I'm going to select the whole thing, mirror, hit the F key. So about right there. Now go across. Cool. So that's the center of that. Now let's go ahead and trim out this extra stuff we don't need anymore again. Okay, now I got the line selected. I'm going to straighten this down just a little bit. Go ahead, OK. We're going to select all 4 of these points, and we're going to go ahead and do a fillet. So let's pull this out so it's a little bit more rounded on the plus. Not too much, just enough to give it some cool shapes. Hit OK. Now let's get these center pieces here. We'll pull that out too. A little roundness to it, a fillet. Now we do the insides. Hit OK. Anyway, we're just going to go ahead and use the face tool here, and we're going to actually use this whole thing to push this out so we have a cutter. So let's push this down. And we can now add some fillets to those areas. So we're going to select the line tool again, and select all 4 of these sides, and we'll pull this out. Again, it's going to be on the plus to make it more rounded and smooth. Not a chamfer, but a fillet. Cool. We can delete these other little pieces. We're just going to select these. Hit shift and then go ahead and delete them. All right, now we've got the object. We can move this over. First thing I want to do is add a little bit of fillet here on the base. And we'll put this back in the actual top view, the Z view, and we'll move this into place. Something like that. Cool. Now we'll move this up just a little bit so it's past the edge. Hit OK. And we're going to mirror this to the other side. Again, use the F key to kind of get down in center. All right. So let's select the main object and then these two objects, and we're going to hit the Q key to cut that section out. Go ahead and hit OK. So I'm going to create a hole right in here. We're going to put a handle into these sections. So we're going to actually use the line tool here to pull out from that center area to create the handle. And we're going to push this outward. And again, we'll make sure we got the right view here. Move this into this section here and then out. And then back to the center. Right there's fine. And again, we'll do the mirror key again. And we'll do the opposite side. Hit OK. Cool. So we go make sure we select the line tool and trim. And we're going to take some of these pieces out. Okay, first of all, let's go and select the line tool again. And we're going to actually basically try to join these with the J key. We can select these 4 sections here, and we'll hit the B key to put a fillet there, nice and rounded. Cool. And now let's go ahead and select these 2 sections right here. And again, hit the B key, and we'll pull this out again on the plus. Create a nice rounded section. So you got 2 options here. You can use the pipe tool, or you could use the actual sweep tool. The problem with the pipe tool is it does create sometimes a piece in the center because it's not, it actually is creating like an inner and outer piece. So it normally has a hole in it. And actually it's okay, you can still work around it, but it just creates extra detail that you really don't need. Or you could just do a sweep, that's another option. Anyway, I just went with the pipe tool. And you can select this intersection and just delete it. Right, so what we need to do is we need to select the face in there, and we need to pull this out so we can actually cut into this space. And one way to do that is to go ahead and just delete this first, this line. And we could actually select the actual face here. So again, see how that created a hole there? You can't really close the hole either, so it's better just to do a circle if you can, if that makes sense. Or you can deal with it after the fact. All right, so we can actually extrude this out a little bit. So let's hit the E key and bring this out so that way it cuts into the actual other object. And we're going to do a mirror to put this on the other side. So again with the mirror, and we'll select the opposite side. Cool. We'll hit OK. Now let's go and select the actual object, and we're going to actually Q twice so they're actually, it's one object now. After you mirror, a lot of times you get 2 objects out of it. And so now I hid this object, and I'm now going to actually make these little corners here more rounded. So I select both of those and these 2 on the side. And we're going to also do a fillet on these. So let's pull this out. Make that nice and round. Hit OK. This thing has a better look to it that way. And now I'll do it with these as well. And make sure that I pick these 2 as well. This time I'm going to make them more of a chamfer in these, just to give it some variety. Okay, I'm going to actually cut the edge here, and I'm going to make that a thicker piece right there. So it looks like it actually has an insert. So let's go ahead and cut that with the cutter. Hit OK. Then we can go in here and scale this up. Now one thing I will do is I will take this off the actual y-axis. So that's where it's flat, and then I'll put it back at 1 where it belongs. Wait, that stays where it was before. Cool. Alright, so that's that. Actually, I'm going to make a chamfer first and then a fillet. So let's go ahead and do now a fillet on these two little pieces here. Make it more rounded. I think that looks better. Alright, so now I got this object. I'm going to first select this outer object here. Alright, so I'm going to select this section here and actually cut it into the other object and actually keep tool. So that way it's a separate object. And now what I want to do is actually select the actual edge of the other pipe and kind of go through that. So I'm going to hide that one. Use the face tool and pull this through. Just going to bring this back through a little bit more. There we go. Now I'll set the face here. Let's pull this back. So it's not going to affect anything. Now it's at basic 0, so it disappears completely. Okay, let's unhide. So then I'm going to actually cut this section out so it actually has a hole in the inside. And I actually kept the actual other object. And I'm going to actually pull this out a little bit. The chamfer. Now I got to do the other side as well. So I'm going to select this here, do a mirror, and I'm going to make sure I select the opposite side. So I'm going to hit the F key so I can actually get to the other side on the opposite side. Okay, so now I got that one side actually mirrored. Now we're going to do the opposite side. So we're creating these cuts in each of these sections here. So let's mirror to the other side. Basically, there we go. So we got now 4 basically cuts in this section here. Now we're going to take this object here and mirror it again to the other side. And say OK. And then we're going to go ahead and select those two and we'll mirror it again. OK, so make sure we select the center there with the F key. And there we go. Cool. Now we can select these 4 sections and hit the Q key twice so they actually merge again. And we can select this now, we can mirror that. So let's go and mirror that with the F key again down the center. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to actually now create a disk and another disk and basically make a copy of it. And I'm going to scale the one on the bottom with the line tool and scale that up. And kind of place this where I need it. And I'm going to now do a loft with both of the items selected with the face tool. So select both of them. And we're going to select the actual loft tool. Alright, so that shape's now created. Now what I could do here is delete these 2 sections here. So again, select the 2 circles and get those out of the way. And now let's go ahead and do a nice fillet on the top there so it's nice and smooth. And we're going to bring this down a little bit into the other objects so that way you can actually merge them together. Cool. Now go ahead and select the line tool here. Go ahead and just delete this. Then we'll select this object, and hit the Q key twice. Try to make it into an object that's actually part of the other object. Okay, go ahead and select the line tool, and select this area, and we're going to pull this out. Make a nice fillet on this edge here. Go ahead and say OK. So I'm in the side view now. I'm actually going to create some lines here. So let's go and pull a line out here, straight. Then I'm going to dip it in a little bit and then down. And again, I'm going to go all the way across, make it simpler. And let's go ahead and do a mirror, so I can mirror to the other side. Hit the F key again, let's hit the center of this, bring it down. Cool. Now we actually select the trim key and we can trim the parts of these little sections away. Go ahead and say OK. Alright, so let's go ahead and select. So I'm going to cut this piece here, the trim. And now it's actually one object, so we actually need to select both of these with the line tool and join them with the J key. Alright. So let's go ahead and select these points here. We're going to hit the B key to do a fillet. We're going to make that nice and round right there. Not too much, but just enough. And now we're going to actually copy this line. So we're going to do a Shift D, bring it up. hit OK. Now we're going to select the line tool and go ahead and select these two edges here, so that way I can get a closed face. Alright, so now we can actually select the actual face, bring it out a little bit so we see what we're doing, and just go ahead and pull this out with the extrude key. I'm going to select the object now, and let's move this back in with the G key on the Y. Cool. Right now I'm going to select this and select this object here. We hit the Q and then Shift Q on this one, so we can actually make that actually as a copy. So we keep the inner sections. So select the outer piece and delete it. Then we're going to select this line here. I'm actually just going to hide the other one first, see what we're doing. I'm going to scale this in just a little bit. We'll give it a nice little cut inside. So about right there. Go ahead, OK. Actually, we could type this in, make it a little bit better. We'll go ahead and go to 0.99, 0.99. Actually, we'll keep that as 1 on the very Z-axis, so it doesn't get shorter or not as high. That way it keeps the continuous object together. So we'll keep that at 1. I didn't OK. This way they actually touch, and you can actually reconnect them if you wanted to. That's what we're going to hit the top piece. Okay, now I'm going to select the line tool, and we're going to select these, basically these 4 on the side, right in the center there, and we're going to turn this to the side and select the other 4. So keep hitting the Shift key to do this. Deselect that one. Okay, so we got 8 of them selected now. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Again, we'll do this on the plus, so it's a fillet. Okay, I'm going to select the center section here, as well as this other side as well. So we can get a nice round edge along that. Select the outer edge there. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get closer so we can see what we're doing. Let's go and pull this out. Nice fillet. Go ahead and hit OK. Now let's select this top piece and the other side as well. And we're going to pull this out. This time again with a fillet. Not too high on this one. Right, so we're going to now select the circle. And we're going to put another circle piece on the top here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hit the mirror tool. Go down the center here with the F key. We'll do both of these as well. Hit OK. And the other side as well. So again, hit the mirror. Select the opposite side. Enter OK. Okay, so now we got 4 of these. Now let's go and get the face tool. Or the edge tool actually, and we'll move this upward. So hit the G key. Let's move this up. Hit OK. Now we did a Shift D of these. What we're going to do now is scale down the center sections, so a little bit skinnier. So select that one, and we'll just go ahead and scale it down. We're going to type in 0.77, and we're going to put this on the rest of these as well. We're going to basically do the same thing on all the rest of them, of course, but let's go ahead and just focus on these 2 sections here. I'm going to delete these other ones out of the way. So let's go ahead and hit the face tool or mirror tool. We're going to go across. Again, we're going to mirror again this time. We're going to hit the F key again down the center. All right, now we've got all basically 8 sections. So we can hit the face tool now. Select that one and this one. I could have done all these at one time, just did one section and then mirrored over and then mirrored again. That would have been quicker, but anyway, sometimes you get focused on different things. Alright, so I'm going to select the line tool and now delete these like I was suggesting earlier. And this one too. And then we can just deselect these, delete them, delete the bottom one, delete key. Alright, so now you got your shape. I'm going to create another shape on top with the square and the center point. Bring that out. Up there. And what I'm going to do now is hit the G key and move this over. But first I want to actually select the whole thing and move it. Hit OK. I'm going to select the line again. Actually, I'm going to go to the points instead, make it easy so that way I can move these things. Some things you can't move. So let's pull that in on the Y. So, alright, cool. So we got that shape made now. And now we're actually going to select those 2 points right here. And we're going to hit the B key and we're going to bevel these a little bit with the fillet so it's rounded. And we're going to select the line tool now. We're going to actually hit the Shift D and we'll copy that and bring it down. And again, we'll bring it down with the Z, G, Z. And then we're going to scale this. So hit the S twice and then scale that in. I'll set the face to the next face. This is where we're going to actually add in the loft. Hit OK. I'll select the bottom edge. I'm going to do another fillet on this. First we're going to delete that line or that section here now. Okay, so we're going to do the fillet now. Now we can hit the face tool, or the object tool actually, and just move this up with the G key on the Z. So G, Z. Now we can actually first do the fillet on this first, that's fine. Okay. Again, now let's hit the object tool and just move this up. G and the Z. So now we're going to bring this downward on the actual, with the G key on the Z. Let's move this over. Let's go ahead and do a mirror. We're going to actually, again, hit the center here with the F key. Bring that down. Now we're going to select these 2 pieces here. And we're going to mirror this to the other side. So we'll do the opposite side and select it. Alright, so select it, and now we got 4 of them. Now we're going to rotate this around. I'm going to select the top piece first, the big piece, and then the smaller pieces. So select all 4 of these. I'm going to hit the Q key. Cool. Actually, we went and did Shift Q. And we're going to select these now and basically delete those pieces. Okay, now we're going to select the top piece here. That comes out. So we're basically cutting these sections out of the smaller circular things that we just created. So each of these has to be cut out, but we're going to keep the tool. We're going to use that to cut into the other object as well. So that's why we're doing that. So keep tool. Okay, now we can select the main object here, and now we can select all 4 of these, and then again we can hit the Q key to cut again. That way you got to cut within a cut. Adds a lot more complexity to your object. Now we can select the line tool and select these intersections here. Basically do all 4 of these. Let's pull this out with the fillet. That's the outer edge. Hit OK. Now the inner edge. So basically I'm creating some bigger forms, and then I plan to use later on decals for some other forms on my object as well. So now select the 4 sections that go around this section here. First, let's go and select these pieces on all 4 of these. So that we can actually take that hard shape, that chamfer, make it into a fillet on that edge. All 4 are selected. Let's pull this out. On the plus, hit OK. Now we can select these 4. Move this down. And this one as well. And then again, let's pull this out. On the plus, something like that. Maybe 0.002. Enter OK. Now let's select these other 4 sections here. 4 of these objects. Again, we're going to hit the F key. I'm sorry, B key to do a. This time we're going to actually do a chamfer. Hit OK. Cool. I'm going to see what it looks like without the edges. I think that looks sharp. Alright, so we're going to go to different shading mode to see what it looks like. Alright, so we got to get these sections as well. We need to do a fillet on these. So we got basically 4 of these corners to do. So let's select each of these. So that's that as well. Hit the shift key. Okay, there's a few things that we got to also do a fillet on because it's going to stop it from working properly. So let's select all these center sections here. Basically, there's 12 of them total. We'll pull this out. On the plus, for some reason that one did not get selected on the very left side, but that's okay. We'll fix it later. So select these upper pieces. And again, we're going to do a fillet on this, so hit the B, bring it out. We're going to see how that worked, see if it got all the areas. So we're going to copy this amount, and now we'll go to this side. It got stopped because the other piece wasn't done on that one section there. That's okay though. Control V on both of these. Enter OK. Right, again, select the line tool. We're going to select these sections here and pull these out. So again, we're going to go back and this make sure we get all 4 of these selected now. So let's pull this out. Do a fillet at 0.002. Alright, so you're going to use the square tool or rectangle tool again. And we're going to use a center snap on it. I'll bring this out. Make sure it's, same shape on both sides. We'll bring this in. We use this as a basically an open area with a cover. So it's going to select the points. Hit the B key again. Let's pull this out. Make it nice and rounded on each edge. I won't go too far with roundness, especially on the smaller parts like this. Okay, so now we're going to mirror this. We're going to center this again and bring this down. Got 2 of those that way, on each side. Now we can select the face tool. Select each of these, and we can bring this in or down. Bring it down. Hit enter. Now we can actually select the main object and then these other areas here, and we can hit the Q key. Actually, we just cut that in. So now let's do select these 4 edges. Let's pull this out a little bit. And sometimes you need to get a little closer to see what you're doing. Okay, make sure all 4 of these are selected. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit with a fillet. Okay, so basically now I'm selecting all these. I'd selected the bottom main object first and then these smaller little cuts. And we hit the Q key. Okay, now we can select these and delete them. Now we got that in there. Basically we did a Q cut through and we did a shift Q so we can actually have the pieces inside. Alright, so we're going to select this. I'm going to the sides do the same thing. Pull this out with the B key. Get a nice little fillet there going. Move it over. Make sure it's done both on the same. Go ahead and hit OK. Now we do this outer edge of this inner piece. And this piece too. Again, we do another fillet. or chamfer. Let's just think what we want to do here. I'm going to pull this out. The plus, so it's a fillet. I'm going to select a smaller rectangular that I just created. And I'm going to actually make sure I hit the line tool, and I'm going to hit the G key. I'm going to move this down. I'm going to have a cutter that goes into this object here on the sides. So I'm going to select the points here first after we got it approved, or we hit OK. So select all 4 of these. Let's go ahead and hit the B key and let's pull this out. Got a nice rounded edge. Cool. Now let's go and select the face. And so I skipped a little part here. I created these cylinders, basically 8 smaller ones, 1 bigger one. And what I did there is just created a cylinder and then I cut it within itself, basically. Again, you know, it's a good idea to kind of do your own thing, but so you have some variety. It's not the same as someone else's, but to follow along, that's great. But it's just good to always have your own, I guess, look. All right, so we're going to bring this line up, and we're going to pull this out. But we're going to make sure we put it on the side here so we see what we're doing. We're going to make sure it's straight into this space, just like that. Right click. We could use this for all the rest of them. And one thing we got to do is bring that point down. So let's select the point, and then we'll hit the G key and bring it down on the Z, all the way into the space. Cool. So here we're going to actually hit the B key again. We're going to do a nice fillet there. The objective here is to actually create one and then copy it over for the rest of them, at least for all the other smaller ones. They're all the same size, so. And so I did Shift D on this, on the face. And so I'm going to select the line tool here. I'm going to use the sweep. Alright, so I move this up a little bit. I'm going to basically delete that. I'm going to select the line here and do a Shift D on that. That way it works out properly. And make sure it looks like it's a face. That's what we want. Right, that'll work. So now we can actually select the line again, bring it down into the space. Make sure we do actually a sweep on this one. Select the line, and there we go. That's simple. Right, before we make more copies of this, let's kind of take this piece here and extend it a little farther into the space so you can't see that it's actually not connected to anything. So basically we're going to select the object here and hide it. Now we can actually select it. Now one thing you notice here, it didn't create the actual outer, so just select the edge there and do a patch. We'll do the same thing on the bottom as well. That way it becomes a solid. Hide this one. And again, we'll select that inner section there. And we'll hit the patch. Okay, there it goes. Geo is fine. Alright, now we select the face. And we can pull this out. Cool. So now we're going to select the object here. Make sure it's selected, and we're going to actually I'm going to copy these over. So I'm going to do an F key, basically a Shift D and F key, and then right to the center there. That way the point will connect with the other point. Now we select both of these, and then we'll select it with the F key again. Shift D, bring it over, and then move on the G key. Cool, now we can select these 4. Do a Shift D, again use the F key to make sure we select it, and then move it down so it actually connects with the other ones. Cool. And so let's do the same thing with the bigger one. I'm going to copy that, hit OK. Now we can select the edge tool here, the face tool actually. We'll set the edge tool here. With this G key, we bring it back down. Now what we can do is actually, I'm going to use the line tool again. I could have copied the other line tool and just moved it over, but anyway, This one's going to be a little bit different, so we'll bring this up a little bit higher. Make sure it's on the right axis and bring it all the way in. Something like that. Right click. Make sure it's lined up properly. Now let's go and select the points. We'll also hit the B key and make this nice and rounded. Pull this out with the B. There we go. Hit OK. So we'll bring this down just a little bit. It will penetrate the other side if we don't do that. Okay, so select the face. We're going to actually now sweep. Select the line. Here we go. That's simple. Alright, so basically that's moving this down a little bit so it's nice and lined up with the rest of them. Alright. Now we can select these. We did cut in the top piece there with the box and with a little bit of a fillet. We cut that section out of this piece here. That way we had like an open area to put the stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to select all of these parts for this, what we just created. That one too. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to mirror this now. All these sections here. I'm going to hit the F key. Make sure it's on the center. So let's snap to that section and bring it down. Cool. Now that's been created. Alright, so now we're going to create another rectangle on the other side here. So I'm going to actually cut in some other pieces here just to give it some more depth. So basically I'm creating another little box here just to kind of give it some variety. So I'm going to bring that out with the B key and make that into a beveled fillet. And it's too big, of course, so I need to take this line and scale this down. Let's bring it way down. Sounds good. And then let's bring it over. We're going to line this up over here on the top, edge to edge. And we'll scale it down more. The best way to center this again would be use the F key to help place this properly, and that way you can center it right on the center of that and then bring it down. So we'll go about right about there. Or scroll it down a little bit more. Okay, basically I'm going to go now and hide some of these other things that we had created earlier. I'm going to also put in some pieces on the inside, those little insert sections, just to give it some more depth. Go to the top view. So we're going to bring this over. Actually with the Shift D so we can actually make a copy of it. Let's zoom in a little bit. So let's go and get that scaled in. And move it back up on the Y. So it's centered off of this thing is what we want. What we do, mirror, do the opposite side. Hit OK. Now let's select all these two here. And we're going to also do a mirror again. And we're going to select the center here with the F key. So make sure we set the center of this and bring it down or up. Cool. Now go ahead and enter OK. Alright. Now let's get this top piece here. Again, mirror. Do the opposite side. We want on the other side there as well. That's it. So this is basically our main details here. So I'm just going to select the actual face tool. Select all these. And now we're going to extrude this down right into the shape. So okay. Now select the object tool, select the main, and then we'll select each of these pieces. So 4 of those smaller pieces. And again, we hit the Q, and then this time we're going to hit the Shift Q. Hit OK. Again, go and select the top piece and delete it on all 4 of these. Now basically what I'm doing is moving them down a little bit. Gives us some depth. Well, actually, we're going to take this piece and scale it down a little bit. Then create a like a top piece there. Okay, so we got that. We have the face tool. Now we can bring this in. So bring it through this actual layer. Hit OK. Select the object tool. Select that part, and then this part. We hit the Q key, and then Shift Q, and we're going to delete the top piece again. Probably select this, basically the shape here, and delete it. And then we got this model. Let's bring this piece up. Hit OK, and this piece also is bring this up. So let's go select the line tool. I'm going to do a little bit of a fillet there. And we can select this one, delete it. Select that one, delete it. As well as this one. And now what we can do is actually go in and we can modify or copy this to their sides. Let's go and delete these pieces first. Alright, so let's go back to the main object that we just did. I'm going to select both of these things, the inner outer. So we're going to mirror that over. Hit OK. And we're going to hit the mirror to the other side as well. So make sure it's centered, bring it down. Alright, so now we're going to select the face tool on both of these. Let's bring it in. Okay, so now that's in place. Let's go ahead and select the main object here. And we're going to select both of these squares, rectangles. We're going to hit the Q key. And we're going to actually do a slice. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the line tool here. A little closer to what we're doing. Let's go and pull this out. And also select this one over here. So let's get rid of this first though. Alright, so let's select these, both sides. Cool. Let's go and pull this out with a fillet. Actually, it's kind of hard to see here, so we're going to adjust. So let's go ahead and hit the object tool again. Let's select both of these, and we're going to use the G key to move it. So let's bring it down just a little bit, or bring it up actually. Let's bring it up. It has a raised edge here instead. I think that looks better. Now we can select these edges on each of these. And let's pull this out, see what that looks like. Alright, so basically we want the fillet on those two things. And that's pretty much it. So if you really like this stuff, please subscribe. I'm going to be having another video soon on the next part of this, which is the Blender section of this. So come join me.